Oh, it's bang up, I'm sure. Thank you, Larry. Just before we get started, how many of us year-round Lakesiders have said farewell to our neighbors who were headed down to the Carolinas, to Georgia, and to Florida? My heart is breaking for those folks right now. I know of several people who are living in those places and dealing with the after effects of Helene. In our executive committee meeting this morning, Glenn came to the meeting by Zoom. He lives in Beaufort, South Carolina, which is not far from Charleston. And yeah, he has effects he's dealing. And he and some friends are taking the spirit of Lakeside to Asheville, North Carolina in the next few days. Not sure what they're going to be doing, but they want to be there and be present with the spirit of Lakeside in Asheville. So we thank him for that. And please keep all of our Lakeside friends in your prayers as time goes forward. We are going to have a lot of stories in the spring, I'm sure, about people who were affected by this storm. At this time, I'd like to introduce the members of our executive committee. The Vice President Ross Brown is not here today. He has an excused absence. He is on the chain gang for the Ohio State University football team, and they've got a big game today. So if you want to talk to Ross Brown, turn on your TV, and you will see him on the sidelines. The Secretary, Connie Roop. Hi, Connie. Connie's getting ready for the International Shuffleboard Competition. Right now, she is currently second in Ohio. So, yes, we're putting a lot of hope on Connie. Connie's also been posting on the various social media sites on Facebook vintage pictures of the shuffleboard courts, and we so appreciate that. Thank you, Connie. The treasurer, Tom Ramsdell. He's done a lot of work for us. Tom is a year-round resident. He's done a lot of work for us right now with the financial stuff. He had 3 pages of things to present, and he will do that without the aid of the screen. So give him grace for that, and we will do our best. Carol Robertson is our Sergeant at Arms. She makes sure that our space here is ready for us, and we have her to thank for the microphones and all the behind-the-things stuff that make our meetings possible. Thank you. We have Ron Yonke. Ron Yonke is a director, and he's also the chair of our Community Relations Committee. He spent a lot of time this summer attending, he and his committee going to coffee chats. And we thank Ron for the time and your expertise and talents doing those sorts of things. We have Dwight King. Dwight King is also a director. He's a member of the Community Relations Committee. He's also a member of the Lakeside Foundation Board. So he is also a very busy man. And he's also a year-rounder. So he knows a lot of the goings-on around Lakeside, and he's a wealth of information and history. Thank you, Dwight. We have Elizabeth Irwin. Elizabeth Irwin is a elected representative to the Lakeside Association Board of Directors. She spends her time communicating and relating back to us news of the board, and she has a really good report today with flip charts, I hear. So we're excited about that. All right, the next thing we want to talk about, the most important reason we're meeting today, I want to do this right off the bat so that those of you who need to leave but came in order to cast your ballot for the bylaws can do so. Today's the big day for the life of the LPOA. Today's the day that we vote on whether to amend the bylaws. We've been working on this for almost a year now. We talked about it as a group at our August meeting. We took it back to committee, and then we revised it again, and we presented you with a new red line. Minor changes were made, and that document is the one we're voting on today. As you know, the LPOA bylaws, like any organization's bylaws, is a living document. And just like technology, as soon as you approve it, there's something else that needs to be changed or tweaked or fixed or amended. That is not any different with our bylaws, and we anticipate and expect that to happen. When we were in the bylaws committee process, we specifically decided not to tweak Article 3, which is the foundation of who is eligible to be a member. Over the course of time this summer, we realized that it could use some updating on its own. We decided to defer those changes until after this vote. So after this vote is taken, we'll send Article 3 back to Bylaws Committee, and we will engage the services of a professional law firm who deals with bylaws and can advise us on the proper language, the lease language. And we anticipate doing that. We're looking forward to having that process done. So probably in the 2025 general meeting cycle, we will also have a proposed amendment just to Article 3 of the bylaws. Right now, the Article 3 has not changed since 2017. The spirit of that article is what we go by, and we have never denied anyone because of any technical issue in Article 3. So as chair, as president of this organization, I have an opportunity to decide whether to vote article by article, whether to amend, or I can choose whether to offer the entire document for amendment, which is what I chose to do. So at this time, I have one friendly amendment to move, and that is a small error on your ballot. The ballot says, motion to amend the bylaws document that was, previously adopted in March of 2017. The correct language should refer back to the date when the document itself was adopted originally. So that date should read, the original adopted date was October 13th, 1990. And it has, that original adopted bylaws has been amended several times, as you will see on page 8 of the bylaws. Does anybody have a question about whether I'm clear on that? So we are voting today to amend the bylaws document that was originally adopted on October 13th, 1990. Because this meeting invites people who are non-members, it was really hard to know who the members are and who the visitors are to this meeting. And the best way to take an important vote like this is to have a ballot, because that way we know who's voting. And the people who have the privilege to vote are actually the ones doing the voting. A 2/3 vote is required. 2/3 of the people who are eligible to vote today are required to pass the amendment. Once we write our ballots and submit our ballots, Carol Robertson, who's our Sergeant at Arms, will collect your ballots, and she'll count the ballots during the meeting, and we'll know the results of the ballots by the end of the meeting. So at this time, please fill out your ballot if you are in favor of approving the bylaws document for amendment, or if you are opposed. Then now we can have discussion one last time before we take a vote. Yes?
We didn't receive anything via email, so I don't really know what it is I'm voting for or against. I don't know if you have copies of the changes somewhere that we could look at, or put them on the screen. Because I can't.
We have technical difficulties today with our screen.
Well,
there's somebody behind you who has. Thank you, Kathy, for that document. We have others. Gwen back there has a copy. Thank you, folks, for that. Any further questions? Hearing no further questions, it's time to vote. Thank you. And Carol will be around with your ballot. The next item on the agenda is The Lakeside Association Board Representative report. We'll ask Elizabeth Irwin to come forward with her report. Elizabeth?
Good morning, everybody. As you just heard, I'm Elizabeth Irwin. It's nice to see everybody again on this beautiful fall day. Without technical difficulties, the flute. So far, that is. Okay. All right, so we're going to go old school, and maybe this will come back. Since I couldn't show a picture of my girls this time, my daughter, my youngest, drew this picture for Lakeside. I wanted a sunset, but she says the orange didn't show up. All right. So updates. I wasn't going to go over the minutes since the August meeting was public, but I do have a few board updates for the upcoming meeting. The next board meeting is going to be virtual on November 8th. For those who are interested, the agenda will be available on the board website for the board part of the Lakeside website 2 weeks before the meeting. An update that I thought people would be interested in from the governance committee, this ties into our bylaws today too. The governance committee is going to bring to the board a proposal to amend the bylaws of the Lakeside Association to have a third member of the LPOA on the Lakeside board. And that would be a second rep, but a third member because of our president being on the board as well. And then also, the board will be asked to approve a traditional real estate sale of the Oak Avenue lots at the meeting. So far, they have not sold by auction. Okay. Other topics of interest that I thought might be relevant. This was a direct quote given to me by the executive committee and approved. The board is pleased to proceed with an annual open meeting due to the success of the August meeting. So there will be another one. I don't have the date of that meeting yet for you, but that will be information to come. Additionally, for now, the base assessment will remain unchanged. The special assessment also remains unchanged for now. And then finally, the board will be posting for nominations, as they did last year, for open seats on the board. For anyone who's interested, you can submit. Right now, there are going to be two open positions. That will change most likely, but depends a little bit on all the bylaws and whether a second LPOA rep takes one of those positions. We're going to do questions at the end. Just hold them, write them down in case they get answered through the rest of the meeting. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. It's always nice to have old school technology to fall back on. Has everybody's turned the ballot in? The voting is closed, and Carol will go back with a helper. You have your helper? Have you chosen a helper? Anybody willing to help count the ballot? Okay, Tracy has her hand up back there. Oh, she has a helper. Okay, good. All right, committee reports. The social committee has a report. We're asking the committees to please announce who their committee members are. I didn't ask you to do that, so you're probably gobsmacked by that request. If you happen to have it in your head, let me know. Yes, of course, you're prepared. This is Lori Schweitzer. She's the chair of our social committee and is going to give us the social committee report.
Good morning. First, I'd like to start out by listing the members of the committee. And they are on the new calendar, which I'll talk about in a minute. The members of the committee are myself. Tracy Richards coordinates Euchre. Tracy Richards coordinates field trips. Pat Cook coordinates the lunches out and the potlucks. Cindy Mall coordinates hand, knee, foot with help from Carol Raber. Beth Sibring is coordinating the Lakeside Book Club. Diane Hartenberg is coordinating Mahjong. Brenda Haas is doing progressive dinners, and Stephanie Thompson is doing Sunday socials. So the question is how do you get on this committee? Well, first I'll talk about how we schedule our space and how we come up with a calendar. Lakeside has graciously given us Poolside to use as our base for LPOA quiet season events. And we've fielded requests from people to add other events to our calendar that aren't held at Poolside. And the reason we can't do that is because we have an agreement with Lakeside to use Poolside. So if you want to do something at another Lakeside location, what you need to do is go through the proper Lakeside channel. So if you want to do something that's in a recreation space, call the recreation pillar. If you'd like to do something that would benefit development, call development. Because we're going to be really staying in our lane so that Charles will allow us to stay in our lane at Poolside. Because we love that space and we don't want to cause any confusion with the Lakeside staff if we're branching out to other spaces. The only time we leave Lakeside, Poolside, is if we do something outside of Lakeside, and I'll bring that up in a minute. So I hope that helps. The other thing that people asked us to look at is how we present our calendar. And this all started last year, and there's been various opinions about how it should be done. But most recently, we redid it, and it is in 14 font, bold type, and it has the listing for the first semester, which is September through December, and that won't change. Last year, we had a new calendar every month, and that's because we honestly didn't know what we were doing, and we were just morphing. So the calendar for January through until beginning of June, or through until mid-May, which is before Memorial Day, will come out sometime in December. Now, how do we distribute it? So this is some motivation for you all to click any LPOA email that you get from the president, okay, because she includes it in there. So that's one way you can get it and print it. The second way you can get it is the association office keeps hard print copies there that you can stop by and pick up. The third way is we have it on the door of Poolside, and you can stop up and write down what you'd like to attend or take a picture with your cell phone. Or you can look at the information board in front of Hoover. So that's where the calendars are. I think that pretty much takes care of what we're doing. Okay, so we opened this year September 11th, and by October 11th, we will have hosted 15 events that have been very well attended. And just to give you some idea, we have the standard things that are scheduled every week, Mahjong, hand, knee, foot, etc. But then we have things that are interspersed. So the first and third Friday of every month is Euchre up at Poolside. We have a great time. We have lunch out once a month. We went to, where did we go? They went to the Orchard Farm stand. That was so well attended that she had to cut off registration. So that leads me to October 10th lunch out. This is going to be, we need to leave Lakeside sometimes. People that are here year-round do need to go out sometimes. So they're going to go to Bar North at the Thunderbird Golf Course in Huron, and there's 32 spots. And if you'd like to go, I would call Pat Cook because there's only 12 spots left. So that's coming up. Next Sunday social, these are the highlights of the things that are not every week. Fall Sunday social is hosted by Stephanie Thompson, and on Sunday, October 27th, it's going to be a fall welcome back, so just bring a dish to share. I'm very excited about Sunday, November 24th, because we decided to do themes so people were more attracted, like last year she did the Super Bowl. It's going to be Friendsgiving. So bring a Thanksgiving type of dish to share. Always remember to bring your tableware and your own beverage. Let's see. Tracy did have a field trip last week, and it was so well organized, lots of great responses. They went to Garfield's home in Mentor, and then they went back to Cleveland to the Lakeview Cemetery and visited his memorial, and they saw the Wade Chapel, and she had docents set up, and everyone loved it, and they had lunch in Cleveland Heights at Lola's. So that was a great field trip. One coming in the spring, she's planning to go to the Hayes Museum that's closer to here. Let's see, the next big thing we have coming up, something new, is Brenda Haas is coordinating a progressive dinner on Saturday, November 9th. And so you can sign up as a couple or an individual, and it's gonna have a little twist to it. So maybe some of you aren't really wanting to go to all these different houses. The way we're gonna do it is we're gonna start at poolside. Anyone who signs up, you'll be assigned to contribute something. So you might be the appetizer person. At that, she's then gonna announce the houses people are going to. So it's going to be more random so that it's not with groups of people who already know each other. Because believe it or not, we've had to have LPA give us a little budget to buy things like name tags. Because like I live all the way over on the west side of Lakeside, I might not know somebody all the way over on Oak, and we're really making a lot of new friends that way. So then you'll go off to a house and have the salad and main dish, and then come back to poolside and have dessert together. So I think that'll be really fun. So if you're interested, call her and you can sign up. The last lunch out I have to announce will be November 14th. This will be before the Lakeside Pizzeria closes for December to do more renovations. And if we could fill that space for them and give them a little business and love, that would be great. Any questions? The only last thing I would offer is there is one more question about, well, you don't post this out to outside people. If you have friends that live in Catawba or outside the gates, please give them a hard copy of the calendar and invite them, because we're getting people from the outside general community, which is really nice. So they're welcome. And if you're here and we're having euchre or potluck and you'd like to bring your family and friends, we welcome everyone, and this is a drop-in calendar. So please join us. Thank you.
What a wonderful thing Lori and her committee are doing for building community in Lakeside in our quiet season. It has a trickle-up effect to our active season, and we're so appreciative of all the work that the social committee does. If you haven't attended one of these events, I encourage you to do it. It's the most uplifting thing. It really is all about playing cards, eating, going places. That's really what we do. And it's just a lovely thing to experience. Please bring your friends. You don't have to be a member to come to one of those things. Bring your member, bring your extended family. We're happy to have everybody. The membership committee I chair, we're looking for new members to the membership committee. If anyone is interested in serving, as long as you're a member of Lakeside, you may ask to be a part of that committee. What we do is we attend the tables out in front at times like this, like we're having today, and also we help Donna Lukey, who is our contracted person who works with the database for the directory, to contact people who we haven't heard from in a while, make sure our directory is as updated as possible. It's a pretty easy thing to do remotely. So if you're interested in being a member of the membership committee, please reach out to me. The next committee report is the Finance Committee, which is just getting started. We'll have more information later in the meeting. The Finance Committee was a committee that was in the current bylaws, the one before the one we voted for, as a standing committee, and it fell by the wayside several years ago. It seemed timely to bring it back because quite a few of our members are interested, especially in how assessment money is spent. So Tom Ramsdell will chair that committee going into the future. It'll be a small committee, and we'll have a nice amicable relationship between LPOA and Lakeside Finance Department about the questions we have about especially the assessments. So it helps us kind of funnel the concerns and questions to LPOA, and it helps you to not have to go one by one over to finance when you have a question about assessments or other elements of the finances. So that is, as promised, it's happening this fall. Charles has an interesting update about assessment reporting, and he'll talk to you about that later. We have now the treasurers. I skipped you. I'm sorry, Ron. We have Community Relations Committee, and this is Ron Yonke. There you go. You're all ready.
How do I advance the slide? Do you know?
How does he advance the slide? I don't know.
Oh, I see it. All right. Hey, I did it.
Got it.
I did it. Okay. A shout out to my granddaughter Paige, who prepares all my PowerPoints, so I don't have technical difficulties. First, I'd like to thank the members of the Community Relations Committee. The current members are listed on your screen. If they're any present, could you raise your hand, stand up, just so people can write. I see David over here. Thank you. And we also have had other members serve during the year, and I thank them as well. And there we go. My practice, if someone asks or shows an interest in being on the committee, I say, hey, attend the committee meeting. And if at the end of the meeting you want to join the committee, fine. If not, that's fine too. And I invite anyone who's interested in serving on the committee for the upcoming year. We've been out in operation for a year. To please let me know or let Mary Ann know. Appointments are by the president of the committee. So Mary and I will communicate on any person who's interested in joining. What do we do? We're in the wheelhouse of what LPOA is all about. The first bold item in our mission statement is listen, and that's the first thing that our committee does. We try to learn. This involves some active listening, and this involves asking questions to better understand what people's concerns are and how we might advance those concerns. And then we recommend to the executive committee anything that we think might be useful in addressing those concerns. Here are the highlights of what we did during our first year. Someone from the committee attended all the coffee chats, and someone from the committee attended all the NCA public information meetings this summer, reported back to committee. We're very blessed that we have a president and CEO who listens, because we listen along with him, and it's made that task much, much easier, and I thank you, Charles. not only for being a listening person, but for welcoming the committee to sit in and monitor. We're not there to kibitz, we're just there to listen. The other thing we have done, we did issue a three-question questionnaire regarding the NCA. That questionnaire was well received. It was constructive, and it would not have been possible, I think, without the work that this committee did last fall, in which we had extensive discussions and we had a subcommittee working very, very hard at a survey. And that really helped us think through how do we ask questions of the community to find out what they're interested in. Another work that the committee did this year was to provide to the executive committee of the LPOA a list of options for how to communicate with the property owners. And I'd like to just highlight two of those options. The first is the feedback form. It's available in hard copy, and we try to make this form available at each meeting. We also will be happy to receive emails. If you want to use the feedback form, that's great. So far, I think we have responded to every feedback form that we've received in some way or another. For instance, one feedback form involved the safety issue. Well, we just contacted the security department right away on that one. We didn't decide that this is something that needs to go through to an executive committee discussion, because of safety is always an urgent item. Other things we'll discuss in committee perhaps, or take to the executive committee, or just whatever is useful. The other item that I call your attention to is the website. The Community Relations Committee have made some suggestions on the website to the executive committee. You'll hear more about the website. We hope that the feedback form, or something like the feedback form, will be on the website, so you'll be able to use that when it's up and running, just like you would use the paper copy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Your committee work is indispensable to this organization and to the executive committee, and I thank you for that. Okay, we're ready for the treasurer's report. Tom Ramsdell.
Thank you. As Marianne mentioned, we had some technical difficulties, so I won't be able to put the treasurer reports up on the board, so I'll kind of walk you through them. Fortunately, it's a time of year where a whole lot isn't going on, so they're pretty simple to read to you. But I'll start with the September monthly financial. We started off at the beginning of September with a balance of $18,370. We took in $40 of income. That's basically 2 memberships, probably because cottage ownership had changed and we gained a couple new members. Our expenses totaled $2,183, and that consisted of a quarterly installment to Donna that keeps our directory database going. We paid her $1,750. We have a monthly expense to MailChimp so that we can send out all of our emails to the members of $28 a month. And then we paid our annual directors and officers liability insurance of $405. So that left us with a balance at the end of September of $16,226. And normally it would be at this last meeting of the year that we would talk and vote on the benevolence of LPOA and about giving some money to some different organizations. But before we can do that, we have to figure out where will we end up at the end of this year. So we did a little bit of a budget, figuring out what our expenses would be for the next 3 months. So over the next 3 months, we have one more quarterly installment to Donna of $1,750. Our 3 monthly MailChimp expenses will be $85, and we committed $250 to the game night, to be a game night sponsor that you heard about a little bit earlier in today's meeting. We have also recently contracted to begin developing a website, and Marianne is going to talk a little bit more about that. And that's a $3,000 expense that we have not had in the past. So if we take those expenses into consideration, we would end up this year with a balance of $10,641. And normally we like to start the year off with a balance of about $10,000. We know next year an expense we're going to have, of course, Marianne mentioned the legal advice for the bylaws. We like to have a little bit of extra cash. We don't own a whole lot of property, but every once in a while we got to buy a new computer or a new printer. So we feel comfortable with the $10,000 balance. So that does not leave a whole lot of money for the remainder of the year to do much in the way of benevolence. So I think at this time what we'll do is Marianne will tell us a little bit about the website, and then what amount of money we do have left over, we can vote on what we've determined for the benevolence this year. Is that okay?
Thank you, Tom. He's done a lot of number crunching. This is probably the first year in many, many years that we've had so many expenses. LPOA doesn't usually have many expenses. We're setting ourselves on a new path of improved communication with our membership. And communication is not free in this digital age. And I hope you appreciate the efforts that we're making to be better communicators with you, and that you appreciate the amount of money that we're committed to spending to make sure that you are well informed. On that note, we have just signed off on a contract for a website, and thanks to the Community Relations Committee, who presented a proposal to the Executive Committee back in February, I think, or maybe, I don't remember, Ron, exactly when it was. It was early in the year. Presented a proposal for a website, and there were lots of other things happening with LPOA at the time, and it kind of got tabled. And now that the air has cleared a little bit and the summer season is over, we had time to really do a deep dive into the website. We found a website developer who has connections here in Lakeside. We're very happy to be working with Brian Ross in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Fort Collins, Colorado. And Tracy Richards, Tracy, can you please stand, has been instrumental in getting our website proposal signed and on the road. I had my first meeting with that team yesterday, and we're in the early stages of designing based on the proposal that was given to us from the Community Relations Committee, and I thank you for that. It was a huge help, and Brian appreciated the help. The website is going to have a couple different things. It's going to have a public-facing page, and that will be for anybody in the world who clicks on our website address, can see a lot of things, public things. And then it's going to have a password-protected part of the website, which members can use to do more things that the whole world doesn't need to know about, such as update your address, pay your dues electronically, and things like that. So it's going to be more important than ever that every one of you who is eligible to vote purchases a membership to LPOA for $10, so that you will have access to a password where you can access, say, the live streamed recording of our meetings. The whole world doesn't need to see that, so it will be behind a password protected part of the website. We honor, we take your information very seriously, and your contact information is not going to be made public. Your financial transactions that you make through that website will be encrypted. We will not keep any of that information, nor will our website folks. So we're really looking forward to this website. We're looking forward to have it be used frequently for information. It will maybe cut down on some of the expense we have for MailChimp. I do want to reassure everyone that we have no intention of doing away with the paper directory. There is no plan, there's no talk of doing away with the paper directory at this time. It's going to be, if it happens ever, it'll happen down the road. And that's, the executive committee feels very strongly about that. I don't see a time when we ever are going to be able to live without a paper directory. The initial cost is $3,000, and we will have ongoing expenses, hourly expenses, for any kind of tweaking and updating that needs to happen. We don't know yet how that's going to affect our budget. We don't know how much tweaking and how much added expense is going to happen. So all I can say about our membership dues is that they're going to stay the same for the upcoming membership drive, which is $10 per person who's eligible to vote. So if you are a couple, if you let's say me and Rich and I own a property, I'm a member, he's not a member, I will have a password protected place that I can go to do my updating, to read things. But if his email is not identified as a member, he will not have access to that protected part of the website. So it becomes even more important that both of you, or all four of you in that matter, who are eligible to vote on your lease, have a membership to LPOA so that you have access to the private part of our website. With that, I will take a brief break in our website discussion to announce the results of our vote. We needed a quorum present in order to even take a vote. At that time, the quorum was 35 people. I'm happy to say that 86 people voted, and of the 86 people who voted, 71 people were in favor of amending the bylaws document, 13 opposed, and 2 abstentions. We needed 58 for a 2/3. So now our quorum, so I'm happy to say, and I offer you a round of applause, to accept the new amended bylaws. And we're very happy about that. So what this does for us is it allows us now to go forward with our additional representative to the association board. It's really important for us to have that. And I was really, really, really hoping that we would vote in a favorable way to this bylaw amendment. So it happened. So now we're in the process of working with the association to get their bylaws amended soon so that we can have that happen in their next confirmation cycle. So it's a win for us, and I'm very happy. So anything else from a financial side that have I missed? Yes. So what that leads us to, back to the website and back to our budget. We have about $500 available to us for benevolence. Our bylaws do not give us a mandate for benevolence. Our benevolence is traditional with this organization, but we are not required to be benevolent. So any future membership dues increase will reflect our desire to be benevolent, because that's really what's going to get cut if we don't raise our dues. So I'd like to just take one quick moment now to hear from you about your feelings about our benevolence as we go forward. Usually we spend about $750 a year on benevolence. I'm sorry? Sorry, 7,000, thank you, $7,000 a year goes toward benevolence. Do we want to continue doing that? Do we want to continue that tradition of benevolence? That's my question to you right now. And I'd like to see a show of hands or anybody want to comment about benevolence going forward. Yes?
Benevolence is and how often it's used?
Benevolence happens once a year from the LPOA traditionally. After the August meeting, the treasurer comes to the executive committee and he says, this is how much money we have in our budget for benevolence this year. So we receive suggestions from our organization members, from you. And this usually happens ongoing throughout the year. If you have an idea of somebody a worthy cause or whatever, you bring it forward to us, and we consider that along with the ideas that we have of our own. In the years past, we have contributed to the fire department, the police. We've given to Lakeside many times. We've donated to the Historical Society. What else? Yes, to Orchestra Hall. We made a significant donation last year to Orchestra Hall. And things like that. Worthy causes inside and outside of Lakeside. Sarah Twitchell would like to ask a question.
You work that side, I'll work this side.
So this is a budget question.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just trying to figure out, I mean, we traditionally have given out $7,500 usually every year. And
Yep.
so I understand that we have committed to $3,000, but I'm trying to figure out why is it that we don't have any money besides $500 left?
That's basically because our income has stayed extremely level over the years with the $10. I mean, our income basically comes from $10 memberships and our advertising. And quite frankly, our membership and our advertising is extremely steady. But our expenses have increased. The cost of printing the directories has gone up every year. This year it went up $1,000. We have taken on the expense of putting in a Zoom account so that we could hold meetings during the off season. We've entered into a MailChimp commitment so that we can send you emails. We're doing the $250 game night. So our expenses are increasing, but our income is staying level. So we are down, well, I shouldn't say down, but let me say our expenses have increased over $3,000 this year from last year, and our income has stayed the same. So there's your difference.
How many members do we have?
I believe we have 1,097 members, approximately.
I just wanted to add one other comment. I know there are people who are wedded to having the hard copy. I am not, and it will be more convenient for me if that is on the website so that I can access it whenever I want. When it's in a hard copy, I don't. If I leave it at home, I don't have it. If I leave it at Lakeside, I don't have it at the other locations. So I hope it's going on the website.
Thank you.
My question is when was, back here, Marianne, Tracy in the back.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
When was the last time LPOA raised its membership fee of $10 or to $10?
It was
2012.
2012. What do we raise it from? $5. So for the last 12 years, it's been $10.
Would it be appropriate to make a motion to increase it?
We had actually discussed that. It was my recommendation, because we have enough money to make it through next year very comfortably, that we would wait and see what the expense of the website was actually going to be, along with getting your input of what you felt our benevolence level should be. and then we could establish what we would need in the way of raising dues to cover those expenses.
Hi, Tom Jones. I really would encourage us to continue with benevolence giving. You know, it's important that we have good fire protection and the police feel good about Lakeside and so forth. And it just seems like our dues are pretty low. And I appreciate what you're saying, Tom, but if we have to wait a whole nother year, it seems like that even a modest increase would allow us to do some things. And then a follow-up question, and I ask this because I would never want us to compete with Lakeside in regard to donations, but if a member wanted to make a donation to LPOA, is there a way for us to do that?
Actually, well, a couple things there, Tom. What I was trying to avoid was asking for an increase this year and having not asked for enough and having to ask for another increase next year. I thought by delaying it 1 year, we could come up with just one increase and be okay. And I thought we have enough to make it through next year in order to do that. So that was why I had the recommendation that I did. As far as giving more, actually we have a few property owners that when they send in their dues, they send in more than the $10. Not a lot, but a few do. So that was one way that, yeah, we do have a few people that give a little bit more to us, and I'm sure we can accept donations, absolutely.
Tom, that touches on what I wanted to have you consider, and that would
Can you tell us what your name is, please?
I'm
where
sorry,
you live?
Jack Allen.
Okay. And what's your address?
344 Vine.
Great. Thanks, Jack.
I want you to maybe think about a sustaining membership, totally voluntary at a, you know, at a higher amount for those that want to do that, and that would kind of build in the ability to continue with giving without being so high that it would compete with Lakeside.
Can you describe your idea of a sustaining membership?
Well, for instance, first of all, the base dues that we have now are really, really low. So I think the leadership would want to think about raising those appropriately to cover the expenses of the organization. And then let's say that might go up from 10 to 15, and then maybe have a $25 or $30 sustaining membership for those that want to do that.
When it comes to increasing income, I'm in favor of all ideas.
Martha has her hand up. Oh, we have one back here. Okay. Okay, tell us your name and...
Oh, Lori Schweitzer, 526 Elm.
Thank you.
Just so I understand how my $10 is being spent, I'm just curious, how much does it cost for my directory? Like, what's the printing cost? Because it seems like it's probably pretty close to that amount.
Actually, I have the actual printing cost here. Wait, let me get to the right.
While he's looking for that, my other observation, because our dues are so low, is if I join and Jim joins, then we get 2 directories. What if we only want to opt out and have 1 directory?
So, excuse me just a second.
Yep.
Your $10, this is something this information we've been trying to redirect for as long as I've been president now. Your $10 is for your membership. Each membership is eligible for a free directory. So your membership isn't paying for a directory. Your membership is the cost of what it is to be a member. You can choose how many directories you want.
I understand, but I'd like to know how much 1 directory is.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just clarifying that just because both of you are members doesn't mean you have to take 2 directories. There's a box at the bottom that actually asks you how many directories do you want.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so just the cost of printing alone, this does not include our own contracted employee doing the database, but just the printing alone is $8,672. Do you know how many directories we order?
No, but I've got 3.5 boxes left.
Do you know, Marianne, how many?
But
So,
how much did you say, 8,000?
$8,672.
Well, it costs $8.72 based on 1,000 memberships. And that doesn't count Donna's salary.
That's correct. That does not include Donna's salary.
Okay, so I guess I'm with Tracy. If we could make a motion to increase it, because it seems like we're almost in a losing proposition.
Okay, thank you. Martha, you have a hand up?
And as I'm walking to Martha.
Okay.
We have 2 memberships, and we keep one directory here and one directory at home, so we have one in each place, and we really like that.
Yep.
Martha.
Yes.
Sycamore Avenue.
Yeah. Hi, neighbor. My name is Martha Adamski, and I live at 416 Sycamore. And my question to you, Tom, is, well, you do too, I know. Now I'm forgetting my question. Thank you. Originally you said, now I've totally forgot what I was going to ask you. It had to do about the $10 that we're paying now, and you felt that that was enough to get us through next year, and then we'll know more what the website is going to count or cost. Why are we waiting to pay our bill at the end if we could go ahead? I mean, we've got enough now, you say, but I'd rather be ahead of the horse than behind it and have some income for benevolence already started.
Well, keep in mind that I am budgeting to end this year with $10,000 in the bank. So I'm not necessarily behind. I've got the money to pay incoming bills at the beginning of the year.
Okay, I thought, I wrote down something different. I thought we were not going to have enough once we do the benevolence of whatever we decide.
No, once we do the benevolence
We'll
and
still
pay,
have the
and pay the
10,000?
website, I will have $10,600 at the end of the year.
Okay, I thought it was down to 9 or some 8 or 9. But anyway, I agree with everybody here. As long as I've been a member, the $10 has not been a struggle for me. And I can tell you, money is a struggle for us when it comes to Lakeside and all the other costs that it has to be here. I would rather see that we raise the book cost, or, I mean, not raise the book cost, but raise our membership so we get enough that we have a surplus that we don't have to worry about. And then maybe next year, if the website costs an astronomical amount for some reason, then next year bring this back to the floor and say, okay, this is what we came, this is what we ended with. Let's maybe go $5 more next year. But I'd rather see us, I mean, we could double it and it not be a burden for us. And then next year, if we're underwater, then let's raise it another $5, just $5. But I would rather see, if we're trying to maintain $10,000 each year, nothing else is going up, why should we just maintain 10? Why can't we raise it up to 12 and have a balance of 12,000 or even 11,000 in the following years?
It's a great thought. Donna.
Martha.
Your new name is Donna, Martha. Thank you. I appreciate your comment. We have got one back here in the corner. Gwen,
Good
please
morning.
give your name and your address, please.
Gwen Nichols, 208 Maple. Tom, don't we have advertising income that helps cover the cost of the directory production?
Well, that's part of our annual income of our budget. Annually, we take in about $25,000 a year. Half of that comes from membership dues. The other half comes from advertising.
And that advertising is in the directory, correct?
The advertising is in the directory, yes.
So that more than covers the cost of the directory and contributes to paying the person who maintains the database?
Well, you know, if half of our income comes from directory, that would be $12,500. And our expenses for the directory were $8,700. Plus Donna is about $7,200 a year, so that's $15,000. So, yeah, I mean.
Would we be able to retain that advertising maybe through the website? Or I'm just thinking.
That is our plan, is to continue the advertising through the website, yes, and have
paper directory.
Pardon?
Paper directory. Continue our paper directory advertising.
Yeah, we would continue the paper advertising directory and figure out how that advertisers can get a benefit out of the website as well. So
Thank you.
This is Celeste Williams at 238 Lakefront in Jasmine. I appreciate what Martha just went through, forgetting what she was saying twice in a row, and applying that to another idea I've presented a couple of times. Could we develop the directory so that we have a photograph of people and maybe the family names, because that would be so helpful. There's so many people here in this room that probably we're all on the same page about memory. And I would love to be able to have a photograph, which we would need to increase the dues.
One thing that we've already been talking about with website development is just that sort of thing. It's important that that information be behind a firewall, be behind the password part. We don't want to just broadcast that out to the whole world. We're very sensitive to that. But I believe that part of the website will be, what do you call that, Tracy? You'll be able to tweak it yourself, your own, right? Yes, you will be able to add a photo if you wish. You can add information to your personal page that is visible to other people who are also in the password protected part. So basically, over time, it will essentially become an electronic directory. But we don't have any plan to do the switch from paper to website.
I'm talking about specifically the directory that we get.
The paper directory. No, the paper directory would be so expensive. If we were to add photographs, it would increase wildly the number of pages that are produced. We did an analysis of that. The directory would look like the New York City phone book, and it just is not feasible to add photos to the paper directory, unfortunately. Yeah.
Marianne, Tracy mentioned earlier about a motion. Are you open to a motion from the floor for the membership to vote on moving our dues from $10 to $20?
I think there are probably two motions that want to come to the floor. One motion is about our desire to be benevolent and what that level of benevolence would be. And the other motion, I think I'm hearing that the membership really wants to have us raise the dues sooner rather than later. Right. I'm not going to stand in the way of that. Okay. I mean, it was ridiculous to stand in the way of that. So, Tom, if you want to chime in. So I think if someone would like to make a motion about benevolence first, okay, and then we'll know how to raise the dues. So the motion on the floor, does someone have a motion about benevolence and a level of benevolence, annual benevolence? Tracy, your hand is up in the back.
Since we don't know about benevolence yet, can we raise the dues and maybe do our benevolence in the first quarter or the second quarter of the year next year?
I would rather stay traditional with our benevolence plan. Just in the interest of tradition, we do our benevolence in October.
In that case, I would like to make a motion that we donate $500 in benevolence this year to keep us at our $10,000 level.
Yes, and that is, thank you. The motion on the floor is to spend $500. It's recommended by the executive committee that $500 go to the Danbury Township the police, Danbury Township Police Department.
Second.
I hear a second. Any discussion about the $500 benevolence going to Danbury Township Police Department? George, please give your name and your address.
$169 Vine, that's where I live. Understand the police department. The fire department here, as I understand it, is volunteer. The EMTs are not volunteer. The police department is not volunteer, and it is supported by our tax dollars. Between us and Bay Point, we contribute quite a bit of money to Danbury Township. I would prefer, because if you listen to the sirens, most of them come in a red truck, that if we're going to donate, we give to the fire department rather than the police department, since the fire department is primarily volunteer and the finances to keep it going are volunteer.
I would like to make one comment. A couple years ago, when we delivered the check to the fire department was very appreciative of the check. However, they did comment that if we could find another organization to donate to, we should do that, because they basically had enough money in their budget. And they thought if we could find another resource to give to, they were okay with that. So that's why the last couple years we have not given money to the fire department. I'd be glad to have another discussion with them to see if their position has changed, but that's the reason we haven't given money to the fire department in the past.
Okay. Question?
Yeah. Did he just say that the EMTs they're paid?
That's what George said, yes.
Okay, through the fire department that they get the money?
I don't know where their pay comes from, but
they are paid.
George says that the EMTs are paid.
Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't understand.
Anybody else want to have a discussion before we take a vote on our $500 benevolence?
Sherry Hahn, 401 Maple. Just occurred to me, what if we looked at donating to the Ottawa County Food Pantry or something like that instead?
Or Danbury Food Pantry, yes, there are other, certainly are organizations that we could add to our list.
My name is Bob, hold on. My name is Bob Burrs from 601 Stoutenburg. The fire department has a firemen's association. So it is an organization of the firefighters, and they do community work. More likely than not, a donation to the Firefighters Association would enable them to continue that kind of work, as opposed to donating to the fire department, which does have a budget from the township. So when they come to the parade on July 4th and they throw candy, that comes out of their pocket, typically, or out of the association's budget. The other things that they may do for the rest of the year would come out of their association's budget, not from the money that they would get from the township to sustain the department.
Thank you for that clarification. Are there any further discussion about our $500 benevolence? The motion on the floor is to donate $500 to the Danbury Police Department. The motion on the floor, thank you for the clarification, is to spend $500 out of the LPOA budget for benevolence. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Opposed? Thank you. Now we can decide. We can make a motion for.
I make a motion that we raise our annual dues, membership dues, from $10 to $20.
We have a second to raise the annual dues, LPOA dues, per person seconded by Martha Dansky, Adamski from $10 to $20. Now the floor is open for discussion. The motion on the floor is to raise the LPOA membership dues starting with the next membership cycle from $10 annually to $20 annually per member. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it, and the dues have now been increased to $20, and that'll be reflected in your membership drive in 2025. Tracy has her hand up in the back. We still need to decide on where the $500 is going. Right?
I guess I should say Tracy Richards, 351 Laurel. Now I would like to make a motion that we donate the $500 to the Firemen's Association that this gentleman talked about.
So we've had a couple suggestions here. The motion on the floor is the food bank. Someone else moved that we donate to a food pantry, a local food pantry. Any more discussion?
Karen Dietz, 644 Maple. I'd like to see it go to the food bank of either Danbury, Ottawa County. I don't know how many of you are aware of just how many people are hungry in Ottawa County. I volunteer at the bistro, and our Monday night dinners that are free, that we give out free, go anywhere from 400 to 600 meals on Monday night between being delivered to homes by volunteers or people picking up. Not saying give it to the bistro, but we have got to do something about the people that are starving here in Ottawa County.
Karen, are you interested in amending? Are you offering a motion to amend the previous? She moved. Okay, so.
Point of order.
Mm-hmm.
We have a motion on the floor.
Yep.
It has not been seconded.
Mm-hmm. And now we have a motion to amend the motion. Mm-hmm.
I rescind my motion.
Thank you, Tracy, for making our life simpler. Okay, Karen, would you like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we donate this $500 either to the Danbury Food Bank, Ottawa County, somewhere to feed the people in Ottawa County.
Okay, so in more Ottawa County as opposed to the Danbury Township. Do you want to refine your motion?
Probably
Ottawa County. All right. The motion on the floor is to donate $500 to the Ottawa County Food Bank. Do we have discussion?
Need a second.
We need a second. Thank you. Tracy seconds that.
Tracy
now we can talk about it. Any further discussion about that? No, we don't. We won't have any more money until the next membership cycle.
Right, but we have money in the bank, and we will have more money. So if we wanted to donate more, we could.
Actually, we don't want to donate more. We don't want our account to dip down under $10,000 because it will start costing our organization if we do.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, with no further discussion about the motion on the floor, I'm all in favor of donating $500 of benevolence to the Ottawa County Food Bank. Say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. The motion has carried, and we will write a check to the Ottawa County Food Bank. Thank you so much. Thank you. And with that, I'm assuming that we want our benevolence to continue, and we will budget for that in the future. All right, Charles, wake up. You're on. It's time for Charles, our president's report. And here's the man that we all love. Oh, no, somebody's waving.
Just one comment on that. Phil Stoll, this week, 159 Jasmine. So regarding budgeting for benevolence,
yes.
Do you want to establish a policy that says that annually you will donate 10% of your budget to benevolence, or the lesser of the balance above 10,000 and a couple bucks
to keep your 10,000, so that you have some sort of a mechanism from the standpoint of budgeting as you go forward. And I also would have said that in terms of setting a new annual dues fees, budget for 5 years in the future where you think we're going to be in terms of annual expenses in about 5 years, rather than what our current annual expenses are.
I would be actually in favor of adding, if we can vote today on whether to remain benevolent, to put an article in our bylaws that require us to be benevolent going forward. I haven't talked about that with the executive committee, but maybe that would be the way to go.
So yeah, I mean, I was president of a large professional society, and we just put it into the rules that every year we would donate a minimum of 10,000, a minimum of 10% of our operating budget towards these kinds of things.
And you're talking about rules as your bylaws or a policy page?
It's just a policy. It's just a board-passed policy of guidance to the executive officer, and the executive officer could, on their own accord, I think, spend a couple $100,000 to donate money to something that they just want. Actually, we actually gave the CEO like $150,000 a year to give out to whatever they wanted to give out to.
Okay, so right now, can we hear a motion on the floor that our organization continues its tradition of benevolence? Second. Here's the vote on the floor. The motion on the floor is to have LPOA continue its tradition of benevolence. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, and AC will take it under consideration. Thank you for your input, and we will work on that. All right, if there's no further, we have...
Marianne, I just wanted to say that your comment about all the leasees becoming members is very well taken, and I wonder how many people really think about that. Maybe they join as a cottage. My husband and I have always joined separately, but we did it because we have different last names. We want people to be able to find both of us. It also gives us 2 directories, one at Lakeside, one at home, and the previous year's in the trunk of the car. But I think maybe that could be brought out in maybe your newsletter or something, that couples or families or whatever, and that's a good point.
Yeah, it's more important than ever that all the voting eligible leasees become members of the LPOA. Yeah. So thank you for that comment. So with no further ado, this is officially our Q&A period. We're done now, and we will turn it over to Charles and the President's Report, and if you would like to do Q&A about your presentation, go for it. Charles Allen, everybody.
Well, now that I have 5 minutes, which is good, it's like you don't have to be bored with my talk. There's a big book up here. I just need to move out the way. Can I move this? Okay.
Those are my notes from today's meeting.
Oh, wow. Thank you, sir. Can we give it up for Marianne and her leadership? And all of the executive committee, people that help move this community forward. I really want to be on vacation right now. That's to be honest with you. But we are just, it's good to be in Lakeside. I am one of those who have the opportunity of being here year round and love all the activity and people that are investing into moving the community, keeping the community alive year round, and that's so important for our future. And we'll be talking more about that, particularly next season, as it relates to the year-round activities that the association is planning, that our team is doing. I want to say thank you to our staff, our board, both the foundation board and the association board, for an exceptional season. Our staff worked extremely hard, and I just want to say thank you to each and every one of them for all their hard work and labor to do what they do to make this season possible. So can we give it up for them? As a result of this season, we've got a few awards that we became aware of. One, we became the best pool in Ottawa County. So if you see a pool charge show up on the things, it's because we're in demand now. But also, we have 2 awards from American in Bloom, which was awesome to receive, and we received a 8-star rating out of 10 possible stars overall, which is also amazing. And also for Lake Erie Living, we received the Best Entertainment Award. So this is, again, due particularly to American in Bloom, because when you look at the scoring, it's not about flowers, as I thought that's what American in Bloom was all about initially. Yeah, it should be. I thought, if we walked in by Dwight's house and saw his flowers, that we would win. But it was all about community engagement. We also won the Best Downtown, or the Coolest Downtown Award with American in Bloom. But it's, so all those things is, again, due to the work of you all, the volunteers, our board, and our staff. Marianne wanted me to give you an update on safety service update. Oh, I heard something ringing. I thought it was my phone. As you know, we have a new safety service supervisor, Ratul San. And so he had already been working with us, started here as an intern. In his internship, he wrote our safety plan. And then also just recently got our full campus safety and evacuation plan in draft form. And so that will be released hopefully before the season starts next year, so that you'll know wherever your cottage located at. If we had to have a mass evacuation, you would know how to leave and processes and all those things. And so we're excited about his leadership as a new supervisor. And we're going to continue with the winter watch, home watch services and so forth. And so just call the security office to get that set up, and they will take care of that for you. As far as the Streets and Drainage Task Force, we have David and Fred here. They're going to come and give an update about that. But one of the things I just wanted to say as it relates to the assessment cash flow in your new assessment billing, and we're going to continue to work on this so that it's even more clear and it gets more transparent and better for us all as it relates to how the assessments are spent. But this will be in your assessment billing, which has some information on there from the summer, but most importantly, it has an assessment snapshot, which all of this information we went over in our August financial forum, which we'll continue to do. But also, once a year, we want to make sure this is included in your assessments on a regular basis so that you can see how those assessment dollars are being spent, where they're going, and et cetera. I want to say thank you to all of you that took the time to respond to the letter on the recent reappraisals that happened all throughout Ohio, and it's a serious thing because even where I'm from in Toledo, I was looking at the news, and they're holding forums. The county is holding, various counties are holding forums on how to contest or try to get that, re-looked at. And so just want to let you know that we are sensitive to that, as we said in our letter. We'll also be working with the Streets and Drainage Task Force to move whatever excess dollars that are collected during this project to make sure they're going toward the Streets and Drainage project. And hopefully, we can eliminate the special assessment early if all goes well. If for some reason the engineers are off and it costs us more, blame them, not me. But no, this we'll continue to work with that. I believe that we have a very good team that is working really hard to keep those prices down, and we will continue to try to work hard to make sure that it gets done as quick as possible. But as of right now, with the special assessments, all of that should be included into your billing so that you can see where those dollars went to and how they're being spent. So if you have any questions about that, we can just, feel free to send those through Ron, I'm sorry, not Ron, but the Finance Committee. They will take all of those questions around the assessment that you all have, bring them to our finance team, sit down with them, get all those answers, and then bring them back to the LPOA in their report. And so we're looking forward to that partnership so that you guys can see that on a quarterly basis, and not just the assessments on a quarterly basis, but how overall how Lakeside is performing quarterly. We will be sharing that information with the Finance Committee as well, so that way you'll know how we're doing, what are some of the strategic initiatives we're thinking through, and maybe some projects that we will hope to do. And so that way you'll have those reports on a regular basis. As a point of more, just moving towards additional transparency, the best that we can within that. The other thing before Fred and Dave come, want to say thank you to Christine. How is she here? And then also for her work, and she'll be reporting on the new task force, the Capital Improvement and Business Case Task Force. Her and Shar Wilkerson will be reporting on those moving forward. But I want to just share with you that there was an original meeting on August 30th. Various small working groups were created from that task force, and we are pretty confident that we will have a full updated plan as it relates to capital improvements and where things lie by April. And so that way we'll be ready to move forward with all those. The Oak Street, we had it up for sealed bid process, did not get acceptable bids on those properties, so I elected to just take them down for now. They'll be relisted at the board's approval in November board meeting, relisted for sale as regular lots and listed regularly for offers to be taken, is my recommendation moving forward with that. The campground expansion, we're still planning to move forward with that to add more additional spaces, starting in the west side of the lot and then reevaluating the east portion of the campground lot. And so as we bring these projects forward, the more we get information on that, we'll be sharing that with you. Also, be on the lookout for our gatherings that will be happening throughout the fall and winter months and early spring. I look forward to seeing you in your prospective winter homes, or as close as we can possibly get. These gatherings are always great time to see Lakesiders, but I'm also hoping that you would invite people you want to introduce to Lakeside to these gatherings as well, so that we can share the gem that we have here with deserving people that need a place like Lakeside in their life, in their family, and in their legacy. And so we're excited about what's coming forth, and again, I'm thankful for each and every one of you, your support, your prayers, your contributions, your volunteerism, everything that just really makes this community great. And we want to continue to keep moving it forward. So thank you all very much. Dave and Fred.
At this time, we'll have the streets and drainage presentation, and then after that, Q&A, any Q&A that's directed directly to Charles or to the streets and drainage.
Thank you. Those who don't know, my name's Fred Sealing. I'm a Lakeside part-time staff member, working on the streets and drainage, and I'm also working on a few other projects within the community. My wife and I have a cottage at 324 Sycamore. So, you know, we're in the middle of all of this too. Whatever happens out of this will happen with us also. So it's been a lot of hard work put forth by the Streets and Drainage Advisory Task Force. As you're probably aware, late in the summer, we looked at the plans we had received and had a pretty deep, hard discussion within the committee, and with some guidance that Charles provided to the committee that we should do the right thing, the committee decided to postpone the construction that was anticipated to begin this September. We are modifying the plan. We looked at the plan that we had received, and we weren't entirely happy with the impacts that were going to be a result of that plan. The impacts were going to basically cause us to rework every person's driveway that is in Lakeside. That was a lot of concern about what that would be, and also the cost of the project and how that would drive up the cost of the project. There was another piece of information that came out that the paving equipment is not really set up to be able to provide the inverted crown that we were looking at because of the narrowness of the streets. If we had standard width streets, that would be possible, but an analysis of the streets and what we were thinking was phase one showed that about 75% of those streets were too narrow to be able to pave them with the inverted crown the way we wanted to. So we went back to the drawing board, kind of, not totally, but we looked at it, and so now the plan that we are proceeding with is a mill and fill project, which is what we were going to do before. That's no different. But we're not going to have the inverted crown. We're going to be matching pavement elevations at each side of the street. So what that will do is keep us from having to change everybody's driveways. It'll also be a little bit quicker. I mean, you can kind of see it out here on 163 now, the project. If you drive that, you see where they milled, and right now they got a little bit of bump where the driveway is, but when they put the final surface on there, that's going to be level, and they're not going in and changing any of the driveways. So that's basically the approach that we're going forward with. So because of that, we'll also be implementing what we're calling local drainage solutions. We know there will be some areas where there will be road-caused drainage issues, and we're looking at trying to handle those locally. So maybe some different grading, maybe putting some basins in where the puddles gather down into the rock. We've also got quite a few of our residents who have already worked to handle some of that themselves. And so we've been in conversation with some of them about whether they think something else needs to be done or they're happy with what's there. So we'll be working on that on the plans. The new plans will be ready by March of 25. They'll be ready for bidding in March of 25, for construction in September of 25. That's 6 months, the March date's 6 months before the construction date. Talking with a lot of people, we think that's an adequate time to get good prices from the contractors. That set of plans is currently to include streets from Poplar to Jasmine and all the east-west streets in between, and the 100 block of Oak Avenue. Oak Avenue has some unique, that 100 block has some unique issues. That will be an inverted crown. It's wide enough that we can do that, but that's also included in there. So those 8 streets will really be able to almost catch us up with the project delay that we had this year, because we were talking 3 or 4 streets that we thought. So provided we get good pricing, and again, this is a pay-as-you-go project, you know, we're going to be bidding 8 streets, but that's got to match where our finances are. So, you know, we'll work on that then. We think we've got some pretty good estimating, and that we'll be able to do that with the funds that have been collected so far from our special assessments. In addition to that, the consultant will be doing field work so that we can get field work completed for all of the rest of the streets in Lakeside. Right now, they have field work from Poplar to Central. So this fall and winter, they'll be moving ahead and getting the field work for all the remaining streets. That way we'll be in a position to start the design process for further streets and a good time to keep the process moving. We still believe that we're on budget for the $4 million number that we've been talking about. That's our best guess at this time. We'll know more once we receive bids in March and be able to advise you further at that time.
Questions? That's my part. Questions?
I thought you wanted to speak.
No, I'm not going to say anything.
He's just going to answer questions.
Charles already talked about the assessment. I don't need to do that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions for, thank you for that. Thank you so much, Charles, for your presentation. Any questions for Elizabeth Irwin as it relates to her board report? We have one here, Ed Brewster.
Ed Brewster, 638 Central. In your report, you mentioned that the base assessments are staying the same. Is that the percentage, or is it the value?
The percentage.
The percentage, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Okay. And again, if anyone has things they would like me to take to the board, just please reach out to let me know.
Elizabeth is our board rep. She is your first point of contact to any issue that you would like to take forward to the board. And of course, you can always reach out to me as well. Is there any new business? Sorry? Yeah, Charles reported on that. The CIBC task force, yeah, he gave an overview. With no further, we have one new hand up. Okay.
I just wanted to let you know that Christine did not get a confirmation that they were supposed to give a report today. So that's why the CIBC task force wasn't represented.
Okay, thank you for that information. Without any other new business, I'd like to hear a motion to adjourn. A second. All in favor? Go enjoy the sunshine. Thank you all so much. And we love you all.